What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to get right to it. We're going to be installing the EGT probe on my 2000 F250 7.3 Powerstroke. This will be relatively similar to any Powerstrokes. I don't know about the newer 6.7s, but any of the older ones, I know it should be about the same process as this. And in general, it's about the same process on every diesel, just different locations on the truck. So we're going to get to it without too much rambling. Alright, so as you guys know, or for those that don't know, I run an Edge Insight CTS. And so basically it's a plug-and-play gauge system where you plug all your gauges into a dongle, which I'll show you, and they all wire up into a screen. So here's your EGT probe. It's what sits inside your exhaust headers. It gives you a measure of your exhaust gases coming out of the engine to make sure you're not putting too much fuel into it and running it too hot. Gives you an idea, especially if you're towing, on whether you're running in safe temperature zone as you're pulling a load. So here's the probe. As far as where it's going to go, we're underneath the truck, and this is the driver's side manifold that you're looking at. Obviously that's your oil filter facing the front of the truck, and right there you have your driver's side exhaust manifold with the elbow right where it connects to the up pipe. And we're going to be drilling a 1/8 inch hole, or an 11/32 hole, tapping it with a 1/8 drill tap, and putting the probe in right at that corner before the up pipe. It's not too complicated. I might show you guys as we're doing it, but it's pretty simple. Alright, there we go. Got the hole drilled in the manifold. Probably take a magnet, see if we can get a little bit of the shavings out, but most of them fell down. Yeah, we'll be ready to tap it. So now we're just going to tap it. When you're running in the tap, you kind of thread it in, let some of the shavings come out, and you can back it off a hair and just kind of go in and out on it. That's what she said. But basically, just go, run it in, back it off a hair, run it in. Not too complicated. Alright, so there we go. Got it all threaded in. I'll just back it on out. For those of you who don't know, what this is doing is actually cutting threads into the metal itself so you can thread the EGT probe into it. And there she is. Should be ready to put the probe in now. Alright, so here we go. This is what we're actually going to thread into the exhaust manifold. It's basically just the mounting part for the probe. The inner smaller threads are going into the manifold, and then this is what will lock it into the probe itself. It's another nut on the probe that will thread onto there. So we'll thread this in and then slide the probe into the pipe. There we go. Ready to put the EGT probe in. With ours, it actually works out perfectly where we can put it all the way in. Doesn't hit the other side. If you run into an issue with it hitting the other side, just simply put it into the edge and then back it off a hair. And it's just taking a wrench and tightening it down. And this is that nut that I was telling you about that holds it in place. And there we go. Be careful not to bend that wire that comes off of it. Or not the wire, but the actual metal itself. Don't bend it. Just make sure to orient it in the right direction that you want the cable to go off of. And then you're good to go. So now it's just plugging in our connector. and running it up to where we have all our other sensors connected to the Edge Insight. Here's the plug that we're going to plug into that probe. Pretty simple. It just plugs in. It's a weather tight seal. And then the other end of this cable, there we go. The other end of the cable is what actually splices into the dongle. It's basically a bunch of these that go in line with each other, so you can add as many sensors as you want to the Edge Insight. All the newer trucks have basically every sensor you could need. These older trucks were missing some, like fuel pressure, which I have added on, and exhaust gas temperatures, which we are adding on now. So we'll plug it in and then run this up to where all my other plugs are. So here under the hood, sensor's right down there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's down there. Now we'll bring it up and connect it to where all these sensors plug in, which is right here. This is my fuel sensor, fuel pressure sensor that's plugged in there. And then we're just going to add another one on to the end, just like this one is. Connect the dongles. There was a cap on it, so now we'll just take this, push it into place, just like that. And then it's got these little plastic nut type things, or retainer nuts, that hold it all into place. Now the retaining pin, or retaining nut, just locks down on it, doesn't turn all that far, about a quarter turn, and she's good to go. So we'll clean up these wiring, make it nice and neat again, or as neat as it's going to be. And that's good to go. It should all be hooked up to the Edge Insight at this point, and we'll just put the gauge onto one of my screens. Again, this is why I love the Edge Insight so much, is because it's super easy to just add on sensors that you might want to have, and they all display on a big screen for you to look at, as opposed to analog gauges, which you have to wire each gauge individually for power and ground and the signal coming in. So we're good to go. Next clip I'll show you inside the cab. I'm going to get this all cleaned up. We got the Edge lined up in here. Everything's plugged in. So turn it on. We got the gauges up. Now we'll see if we can find it in the system. EAS EGT right there. Select it. Go back, and we'll start it up and see how she's reading. Right now it's showing 117 degrees, which seems about right because it's sitting in the manifold and we've been running the truck. So we'll turn it on. Okay, so I got you guys suction cup to my window. You guys are on the GoPro right now, so hopefully the audio is not too bad. But give you guys a little bit of a drive test. Hopefully you guys can see the gauges fairly well. The middle one, right there, the larger numbers are my EGTs. Truck's already warmed up, so we're just going to go for a drive and see how she does. Give her some normal driving, give her some harder pulls, see how it behaves. Unfortunately, I can't aim the GoPro farther to the right. The mount doesn't allow me to do that, so it's a little off center for you guys, but should still work all right. So as I was explaining earlier in the video, the point of an EGT gauge is to actually measure the exhaust gas temperatures coming out of your engine, right near the cylinders of the engine, to give you an idea of how hot your cylinders are actually getting while you're driving. Now, under normal driving conditions, this isn't really a problem, but as you start adding power and or are towing something, your engine's obviously going to be needing more fuel to be able to push the truck or pull the truck. And so with more fuel comes more heat. And so what you want to make sure is, or the point of the EGT gauge, is to make sure your cylinders aren't getting too hot and you're not at risk of damaging your engines. most diesels, or basically all diesels follow, is you don't want to push your engine above 1200 degrees for very long. They can go above 1200 degrees for short periods of time, but if you can keep it below 1200 degrees, that is best. Once you start getting above 1200 degrees on your EGTs, that's when you start kind of risking doing some damage to the cylinders and start reducing the life of your pistons and everything. That being said, it's not the end of the world to go over 1200 degrees, but that's kind of the zone where if you get above it, you might want to think about backing off a little bit and taking it a little slower. I believe International says that on these engines, they are totally fine to operate at 1100 degrees all day under total load. So again, I know most of you guys probably know this already. I'm mainly just explaining this for the people that don't, or maybe new to diesels or looking at diesels or don't tow very often. It's just kind of good knowledge to have. It should be common knowledge for most people with diesel trucks. If your truck is stock, EGTs aren't something you really have to worry about much, but if you have a tuner, bigger injectors, a tuner and or bigger injectors like I do, it's a good idea to have an EGT gauge. In general, if you're going to be towing frequently, it doesn't hurt to have one. I guess for me, it's kind of one of those things that I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So I'd rather know what my EGTs are and know that they're in the clear than not know what they are and just hope they're in the clear. As you can see with mine, unloaded, it's all running in a total safe zone, nothing I even have to think about worrying about. Highest I see under just kind of my normal driving seems to be around 700 degrees. We'll give it a harder pass and see how it does. I wouldn't expect it to get much over 1,000 degrees under a full throttle pass with this, but we'll see. Give her a little juice. There we go. So I was under full throttle, hitting close to an hour. And as you saw, I have the EGT gauge set up to start triggering at 1200 degrees to give me a warning that it is at 1200 degrees. So that was full throttle, in overdrive, hitting close to an hour. Definitely not something I do hardly ever. I'd say this truck honestly doesn't see much over half throttle very often. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll probably cut out the driving around here. Everything seems to be looking well, and I'll probably do a short outro when I get back to my place. Alright, well there we go, guys. I think that'll be a wrap for this video. Hopefully it didn't go over too long. It's not all that complicated of a video, so it should be pretty good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of video. I always enjoy doing install videos and showing how to do things, and just kind of working on the truck. Obviously that's why I started this channel. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a thumbs up. If I missed anything, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I can't say I always cover everything. Sometimes I get all caught up in the moment, forget to say things or forget to show things. But all in all, it's pretty simple. Now that I finally got my EGT gauge installed, my whole setup is really getting close to being complete as far as where I want it to be. I would really like to start doing some towing videos to see kind of where the truck is at, how everything's are doing, give you guys some real world numbers. I'll be completely honest, I don't tow a lot. hardly ever, but I have the opportunity to be able to. I'd like to be able to get you guys some real world numbers and see how the truck does with my exact setup. And then of course, as I add different things and change things, I'd like to be able to tow it and compare it, be able to go back and forth and compare different setups and give you guys real world information on how things behave and how the truck does. So if you guys think you'd be interested in something like that, different tow setups, different tow videos, different weight ranges of towing. I know a lot of people tow with these 7.3s, and so maybe use this channel to get some good information out there for you guys. Let people see it, see how these things perform. Obviously, they're still 20-year-old trucks, but they still should tow pretty good and be good workhorses. Not many people hotshot with these things anymore because of the newer trucks, but they're workhorses nonetheless. So let me know if you guys would be interested in some videos like that. I think it'd be cool to make some content like that. So if you guys think so, leave it in the comments below. Again, or as always, if you're new here, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. We got a lot of stuff coming, a lot of stuff already done. So hit that subscribe button, don't miss out. Everything I do to this truck should be linked in the description below as far as parts go. I do my best to leave all those links down there. It doesn't cost you guys anything to buy parts through those links. It just brings a little bit of money back to the channel, which allows me to bring more content to you guys. So if you're interested in anything I use, it should be in the comment below, or it should be in the description below. If it's not there, leave me a message and I should be able to get it there pretty quickly. To all my current subscribers, thanks for tuning in again. I'll catch you guys on the next video.